Chances are, if you're on this channel, then you're probably facing some difficult, challenging dementia-related behaviors. And this channel is filled with hundreds of tips and tricks and strategies and approaches you can take to help work through those challenges. However, if none of those seem to be working, or they don't seem to be working for long, they don't stick, then it's likely that you're missing one of these three building blocks. These three building blocks is what I'm noticing caregivers are struggling with when they can't seem to get the success that they want, or they can't seem to get that success to stick. You can think about this like a car. So we have a car, and the tips and tricks and approaches in dementia care are kind of like the bells and whistles of a car. You can have power steering and locks and heated seats and heated steering wheels and tinted windows and panoramic sunroof. You can have all of those great things. However, if that car does not have the engine, or if you're not putting the right fuel in that engine, it's not going to work in the way that you want. So what this video is about making sure you have the right engine. You have an engine, number one, and that we're putting the right fuel in that engine. So I'm going to walk you through these three building blocks. If you're somebody who really wants to increase the chances that you will have success in your loved one accepting help, taking a shower, knowing how to respond to difficult situations when they accuse you of things that aren't true, whatever challenging caregiving situation you are in, then keep watching this video. I'm going to start with building block one, which is basically where you look to get evidence that you can succeed. What the majority of people do is that we look to our past to see what is possible for us right now. And this is a big mistake when it comes to dementia care and having success. You cannot look to your past to determine what is possible. If you look to your past right now, you're probably going to see how your loved one is always accusing you of things, not taking a shower, never really accepting your help, that things always seem to be a battle and seem to be a struggle. That's what you'll probably see if you look to your recent past. And so the key to start having success in dementia caregiving is that you don't need evidence in your past. We have to get that out of our mind. If we only were able to achieve what we achieved in the past, we would never have learned how to read or walk or drive a car. At some point, we never did those things, and then we did. And the same is true in dementia caregiving. So you have to understand that from a foundational level. Just because something has never worked before in your situation doesn't mean it will never work. It's possible it can work. We just have to keep working on these building blocks in the engine and the next two things I'm about to share. But the most important thing is stop looking to your past. That's not where your evidence is. You are about to start creating your own evidence. The other thing I want to share that I see is a big barrier and block to having success in caregiving is that some people will have past situations in life that were not great, that were hard, traumatic situations, harsh situations, perhaps even with your loved one who has dementia. And so the very cool thing that we get to do and what psychology teaches is that there is something called post-traumatic growth. Regardless of what happened in your past, you right now get to determine the meaning of that and your interpretation of that. So a lot of people, they might have something horrible happen in their past, and they can make that mean that people don't love them, they're unlovable, they'll always struggle, people can't be trusted, life is hard. You can make your past experiences mean whatever you want. So that means you can also make it mean you know how to care for yourself now, you know how to foster good relationships, you know how to say bye to relationships that are no longer serving you. Like, you get to frame your past in whatever way you want. And so a lot of times, either like thinking to yourself, well, I've never had this success before, so I can't have it now, or all these horrible things happened in the past, so that means they're going to happen again. That is a roadblock. That is going to stop you from having success, not only in caregiving, but also in life. Okay, let's move on to number two. So this is a situation where most people think that in order for them to be happy, they have to have all of these things outside of them change. It means that in order for you to feel good and be happy and have success, your loved one right now needs to agree to that shower. Your loved one right now needs to agree to go to that doctor's appointment. Your loved one right now needs to stop calling you mean names. You basically put your happiness and everything on hold until your loved one with dementia does what you need them to do. This is true not only for caregiving, it's true for all humans. We put our happiness on hold, thinking circumstances outside of us need to change. I need to get that promotion, I need to get that raise, I need to get the boyfriend, I need to get the house. And that's not the way it works. In fact, that will keep you struggling longer, and it actually prevents you from having success. There's a principle in psychology called broaden and build. And what it means is that in order for you to have success in life's most difficult challenges, like the ones you are facing in caregiving, you have to first start from a place of positive emotion. You cannot have the success you want in caregiving if you are starting from a place of negative emotion. This is what the broad and build principle teaches us. It's actually a theory that when we are approaching challenges and tasks from a place of negative emotion, our view of solutions and what we're able to see is restricted. It's narrow. It's rigid. We can't even see everything that's available to us because we are in a place of negative emotion. But when you approach difficult situations from a positive emotion, all of a sudden your brain is open up to more solutions and you can see more clearly. Now, a lot of people get really stuck. They're like, well, I can't feel better. I can't feel happy. I can't be in a place of positive emotion if all of these things outside of me don't change. That's not true. In fact, I have a formula for change. You might be familiar with it already if you've been following me for a while. But basically, it explains that we have a situation in life happens. A situation is anything that has already happened. These are going to be things like what your loved one just said, what your loved one just did, what other family members just said or did, coworkers, neighbors. This is life. This is life as it's happening, situations. We cannot control it. Most people put all their energy and attention right here, and it's the one thing we can't control, and this is a recipe for burnout. So every single situation will lead you to have a thought. Now, this is very important. Your thought about the situation will determine how you feel. Your feeling will determine how you act, and that, like, the actions you take and the actions you don't take. And then that will determine your outcome in life, essentially the results you have in life, and it will also impact your loved one's actions. This is specific to dementia caregiving. When we think about this, this makes total sense. If you are functioning from a place of frustration, you're likely not going to get the outcome you want. People who are functioning from anger, frustration, resentment, they don't have success in life. They don't tend to have success in life, or at least near the success that they want. And if you are approaching a situation that you're trying to change from a place of negativity and frustration, it's never going to get you the outcome you want in life. If we were to do an easy example here, let's say that you wanted to, the New Year's is coming up. New Year's, lots of people have resolutions, and 80% of those people will fail on their resolutions by February. Why? It's not because resolutions don't work or goals don't work. It's truly about this and making sure you're using this and functioning from this place. So let's say you had a New Year's resolution to lose weight. And so your situation, this is just facts, would be your current weight. You would write down, here's my current weight. Your thought about that situation is really going to determine your success. If you have a thought, this will be hard, I can't do this, I failed too many times before, my life is too busy to be able to go to the gym, I have no time for this, I don't have time to cook good meals. It's not the situation of being a caregiver and how much you weigh and all these things. It's always your thought about it. So if you have any of those thoughts, your feeling is probably going to be feeling discouraged or hopeless. Now, what kind of actions would somebody take from a feeling of discouragement or hopelessness? Not really great ones. They're probably going to give up the first second that their loved one prevents them from being able to go to the gym. Or they're going to give up the first time they miss their workout and say, see, I knew this couldn't happen. And then what result do you get? You get the result of not losing the weight. That's a simple example I can give, but this applies to everything that happens to you in life. Your life is a result of your thoughts. This whole premise here and the broaden and build principle is basically like you putting the wrong fuel inside your car. You're doing the action of putting the fuel in the car. You're paying the money of putting the fuel in the car, but it's the wrong fuel and your car will break down. And this is where so many caregivers break down. And they stay all right here in the action of all the tips and all the tricks and all the approaches, never paying attention to anything over here, and they burn themselves out and they never have the success. The broaden and build principle says the first step to success is positive emotion. And luckily, this formula for change actually shows you how you can change your emotion. Okay, moving on to number 3. Basically, so this is the average. If we look to research on what is the average in dementia caregiving, it is frightening. The average in dementia caregiving means the vast majority of caregivers have depression, anxiety, insomnia, poor health outcomes, greater risk for cognitive impairment. That's the average caregiver. That's what the research shows. And so if you don't want that, you have to decide. You have 2 options. Do you want what typical caregivers have? I hope the answer is no, but you have the option. If you don't want the average of what most caregivers experience, well, then you have to deviate from the norm. You have to deviate from the average, and this is actually scary. This is basically part of our survival. In order for us to have survived, we had to conform. We had to be a part of the tribe. We had to be a part of the group. Anything we did to take ourselves away from the norm, you risked criticism. You risked being ostracized from the group. It essentially meant death. That's not the case anymore, but we still react in that way. It's an act of courage when we decide we don't want what most people have. We don't want to be the average because the average is scary and it's leading us down a path of negativity and a lot of stress and health problems. You can just take a look at how you feel like your health has been going over the past year, how your relationships have been going over the past year, how your mood, anxiety, sleep, and all of those things have been going. Does it match up with what the research shows is what many caregivers experience? So your options are you have to deviate from the norm, which means you have to do something different, or you can conform. Conform just means just go along with it. Just go along with it and then just accept like this is my life. I'm going to struggle with this. I'm not going to get my loved one to change. This is going to be hard, and nothing changes until caregiving is over. Those are the 2 choices you're faced with. Wait or burn yourself out, focusing only on the actions, nothing ahead of this. Like most people, they don't focus on this. And that's why most people are so burned out. I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to literally change your emotion, change your feelings so that all of those dementia tips and tricks are more likely to work. So I put this down here, marathon. This is an example. So what do people do when they want to deviate from the norm in order to be successful? You essentially have to surround yourself with people who have the same goals. You are more likely to adopt the behaviors that other people you surround yourself with have. So people who hang around with smokers are more likely to smoke. People who hang around people who like to cook home-cooked meals and enjoy cooking are more likely to actually do more home-cooked meals. You can apply this to any behavior. It's like our social norms. And so, number 1, you want to make sure you are surrounding yourself with people who have the similar goals that you have in life and that you have in caregiving. So when I was... years ago, I used to be a big runner. And when I was finished with college and I was no longer on, I played soccer in college. I'm like, what am I going to do to stay in shape? I met my husband and he was a big runner. I thought, well, maybe I'll try a marathon. Well, in order for me to try a marathon, and I wanted to do it in the best way I knew how. So what did I do? I surrounded myself with other people who wanted to run a marathon. They had the same goal. I also surrounded myself with the people who weren't going to complain about it the whole way. I mean, if you're going to go ahead and decide to do something, you might as well try to enjoy yourself along the way. I 1000% believe that is a possibility in dementia caregiving as well. But instead, we just surround ourselves with the people who are constantly complaining or don't see any hope. We have to break away, deviate from that norm, and then we have to go create our own norm, create our own average. So when I was training for a marathon, I surrounded myself with other marathon runners. I made sure I was not the fastest or best runner because I wanted to improve. In order for me to improve, I had to put people who were ahead of me and who had accomplished what I want to accomplish in my sights to help my brain see what's possible. If we can't go to our past, remember, to see what's possible, one of the places we look is what's around us. So we want to try to do the best we can to make what's around us, our environment, optimized for our goals. I hired a coach. I got coaching. So what am I going to do when I have a running plan and then all of a sudden it's raining, or I was in Pittsburgh at the time, so the sidewalks were icy? What do I do? And having that coach and that guide in my life helped me stay on track, helped me get to that start line, helped me get to that finish line, till eventually I was able to run the Boston Marathon at a 3:17 in really cold, windy conditions. I was able to achieve my goal because, number one, I had thoughts that fueled me. I was not looking to my past for evidence of what I could achieve because I had never done it before. And then I also made sure I surrounded myself with the people who had similar goals that I wanted to be more like. And so these are the building blocks. If you feel like you have not had the success you want in anything in life, but especially in dementia caregiving, you might be missing one of these blocks. You might be missing more of your engine or putting the wrong fuel in the engine. It's going to burn you out and keep you exhausted and overwhelmed. All of the videos on my channel with all the tips and tricks and approaches, they are going to be very short-lived and not work for long if we aren't focusing on doing this all from a place of positive emotion and surrounding ourselves with people with evidence that what we want in our future is entirely possible. All of that being said, for the month of November, I have opened up my care course at the best time that you can ever join and get 12 weeks free with me and other dementia experts and other Careblazers who have already, they're here. They're already achieving the goal. They're in the process, or they have, and you can join us. The care course is a program that walks you through this formula. It walks you through how to deal with those really difficult behaviors. It gives you the system you can follow no matter what you're dealing with, and you get the care course for life. In fact, when you join, it's emailed to you automatically. We now have a written version in a workbook as well as digital videos for you to watch. You'll get that as soon as you join, plus a bunch of other bonuses. But the best bonus that you'll never see again is 12 weeks free with me and my other members inside of a live member community. So there's a link below this video. You can click and you can join us. It's only good through this month if you want to capture it. You're welcome to join us later, but it will not include the 12 weeks of free live support, and it will be at our regularly priced programming. Careblazers, whether you join or not, I hope you let this sink in. Do not let the bells and whistles of the leather interior and the heated steering wheel keep you off track. Realize, like, we have to focus on the non-fun stuff first to make everything go. We have to focus on that engine. And this is what this is. Okay, I'm sending you so much love.